Welcome to Conversation for the Soul. Today we're here with our monthly conversation with Joy Anderson and Anne Ferrel-Cox. And today we were going to have a little discussion on oneness. But if you would all just indulge me for a moment, because I was thinking about this on my walk in the woods today. And as a collective, can we even embark on the concept of embracing oneness and unity consciousness when there are so many individuals that have not even begun to embrace this oneness, the conscious self? Seems like so many souls have awakened since 2012, and there's many like Joy who have embarked on this journey for decades more than that. And as a collective, how do we step into this unity consciousness? And as an empath, I'm just wondering, with the real world energy of chaos and anger and fear, so many are still in this operating program. And is there going to be some sort of split or divide that's going to occur? Or is there going to be an earth-shattering shake to wake us up? Where do you ladies think we're going to go with all this?
If I may, nothing earth-shattering. You know, everything is always on a gentle curve. We have activation after activation, but in between we have a pause. And so the key is to trust, for everyone to trust that there is oneness, that we exist in the oneness. The oneness is the supreme energy force that I call God. Not everybody is comfortable with the word God, so they can call that supreme energy force, source, creator, oneness. Everyone can find their own sound for that experience, but it's to trust that experience has always existed, and to search through different modalities for it inside of us. But the key is to go inside, not outside. And we're so used to going outside for answers that we have forgotten how to find them inside. And the easiest way is to walk in nature or to meditate. And meditation has been practiced before the arrival of Christ. And so the easiest way for meditation, especially for a beginner, is just to sit in stillness. I like to sit or to teach for 9 minutes. If you don't have the time to sit in a proper meditation, break it into 3, 9 minutes in the morning, 9 minutes in the afternoon, 9 minutes in the evening, so that you can slowly get used to stilling the mind and not making it the intention, but watching the mind as you breathe, or watching the breath as you sit. And it is a very, very complicated world, as you spoke of. So the mind is actively busy with this collective. So we have an inner mind and an outer mind. The outer mind is the collective mind that's very chaotic and very busy. And for those who are empaths, all light workers are empaths, and so they're feeling this this separation. So when you talk about, is the world separated? Oh, absolutely. For me, the world is divided, and it's been slowly dividing over a long period of time to give us the chance to process and decide. And it's a decision that's conscious, unconscious. Can I move into this new world, or do I wish not to move into this new world in this particular lifetime, knowing full well that there is no right or wrong? So when we talk about the division of the world, we used to exist in a third dimensional frequency. It's a slower vibration. It makes the material tangible, thicker, denser. It's a little more difficult to meditate or to sit in stillness in that vibrational frequency alone. It's easier to do it in group because the group creates a collective sound. So when we look at our past, we have created temples, churches, sanghas to go to support that collective. And now the Earth Mother has been urging us to go inside, to find the temple inside, to find the church inside, to find the sangha inside. And she has rebirthed those who have been aware of her rebirthing, have found it comforting and easier to accept this shift of the new world, the golden age, whatever word you want to use. So it's just acceptance. Can we accept the perception of our reality and shift it? Can we continue to shift our perceptions to look at all the angles so that we expand that perception to include more awareness, more truth? And it's very difficult for people to believe that we exist right now in that fifth dimensional frequency, but we can find it readily when we see a rainbow, when we're conversing with our pets, when we walk in nature and we sit by a stream and we hear the healing sound of the water. You know, we find it in different ways. Maybe it's when we're cooking or gardening, but we do find that Zen moment, and that Zen moment equates the fifth dimension for now. And it's to trust that moment is the fifth dimensional frequency because it gives us a sense of peace and harmony. And then we take that into our home and we give it to our family. And that's part of the experience, to take it in and give it out, to take it in and then give it out to the family, the extended family, the community, to the world. And it doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be big or grand. It can be very simple. So it's this experience of walking those baby steps. We've talked about that more and more and more, one step at a time, but to recognize that the bridge between the third dimension and the fifth dimension is always there. The fourth dimension is a bridge. It used to be that place where we would go to when we meditated. It used to be that place that we would go to reach the fifth dimension and the other dimensions. We are multidimensional human beings, and so we can rise to wherever we want to go within that dimensional realm. But most people are afraid of the unknown. What does that look like? What does it feel like? So they tend to stay in that state of existence that relates to their perception of their reality. So the fourth dimension is still the bridge, but the world exists now in the fifth. Now the third, the chaos and confusion is coming from human beings who are containers for entities that are real, that have a very slow vibrational frequency and live off that human being, thus creating a dysfunctional mind. And that dysfunctional mind can become what humans call evil. They like chaos, they like war, and so they're going to create a very dysfunctional human so that there is this tendency to hold on to the old state of not peace, but war. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'm just living in gratitude and giving what I can. And sometimes it just goes over people's heads, but it doesn't matter because every word that we speak that's coming from our heart is coded with love geometrics. These geometrics are sound notes that are then transferred into that human or into that place or into the world. And the light workers are, even if a light worker doesn't explore the experience of the now, it still is existing. The light worker still exists as a fifth dimensional and holds space, holds the light for the collective of the fifth dimension. And that's all we need. We need the collective light workers to stay on board, to not go away, to not cross over, just stay here and keep doing whatever is necessary to hold space.
No, I don't know where to start with.
I know.
It's a little loaded, I know.
It's so beautiful. And
well, I did some channeling the other day and I sent that to Allison, and it said that we are in a new vibration, which then I read someone else affirm that, not that I needed that, and that we're in a tunnel right now. So you spoke of that. We're in this, I look at the tunnel almost like that liminal space. We're in the stasis in between the shifts that, you know, it just takes things a while to get from a vibrational or a light frequency manifested into the physical. So I trust that we're in that tunnel or that liminal space, but I also see, based on my own experience and experience of others, is an aspect of stepping into this vision of oneness is letting go of all the beliefs that you had about religion, society, your self-worth, and everything, and stepping into that true knowing that's not validated in the physical. And you have to be brave and courageous to take that step, whether or not you're a light worker or you don't know what you are. You have to do the interior work to align yourself with your heart and the truth of what you want to create. So that's another, it just takes a little bit of linear time to step into that. The guides taught me a few years ago that the delineation point between this physicality and the new earth was going to be a singular expression, which means that you're creating only for your own interests, essentially. Whatever creation that you're participating in is not for the greater good of humanity or anything beyond yourself. So I think we can start looking for little sparks of hope and new creations that are coming out in the physicality that represent this concepts that are beyond our consciousness, because these young people are bringing in ideas that haven't been brought forth before. So I think it's important to embrace the newness and the let go of expectation. I woke up the other day and my higher self said, you know, it would really be impossible to have a bad day if you had no expectation at all about how you wanted your day to go. So if we are in that energy of just being in excitement with the eyes of a child and just paying attention to the goodness that's around us. And I mean, I haven't watched TV in 8 years, and now I'm at home because obviously all those energies were impacting me on the airplane. And I said to Allison, I almost feel lazy because I'm just really enjoying this quiet so much that I know there's a purpose beyond our knowing while we're all sort of resting right now. Our energy is going to be needed, But I think that's another point, that I have to be grateful for every moment. So right now I'm resting, and I just need, instead to say, oh, I need to be out doing something, I just need to be enjoying the beingness of the quiet. And that takes a lot of really focus and discipline to say grateful in every moment like that.
Yeah, because that's another societal way of controlling. You know, that old belief, well, I have to be busy, I can't be quote unquote lazy. When I first started this journey, I was guided to understand, and this is going back a number of years, that there's usually one person in every family that will support the awakening of the family. And that's all it takes. If there's one person in every family who is that spiritual leader and allows themselves to be present and giving and kind, it will expand the consciousness of that family, and then they will go out and it will expand in that fashion. But the chaos, there's always chaos before order, as some of us know. And so this chaos has, for us, lasted such a long time. But when we look at the universal picture, it's the blink of an eye. This is the blink of an eye. It really is a nanosecond where we are supporting the shift from the old story into the new story. And the collective light workers often don't know that they are light workers outwardly, but inwardly, there is this knowing, this automatic, innate knowing, yes, that's who I am. But there's something that will turn them to, it's like turning the light switch on or off. They can't believe their power. They can't believe that they would hold that beauty inside of them. So they switch it off and create doubt. And that doubting Thomas, if we can just work on the doubting Thomas, and when we have that moment of doubt, flip the switch, let go of the expectation, as you said, turn on the light, and move into an experience of some degree of gratefulness or joy. So we are in this transitory space right now, what you call the tunnel. And it's been going on, it's like a gestation. I always find these tunnels about 8 or 9 months. So it's like we're pregnant with something and then we give birth. And right now we're pregnant with resting so that our bodies can climatize to this new DNA, this new 12-strand DNA, the 12 chakra system. And even though we don't believe it or we don't understand it, it's just to trust that there is this tunnel shift going on, and it's okay to rest. It's okay to sit and do nothing and wait patiently for the fall, when all of a sudden there will be another great activation, because they're always coming. So there's another great activation in September where people will wake up and they'll have had a dream, or they'll walk in nature and they'll have an aha moment, and the clarity of their soul's mission will be there. Oh, I need to do this, or oh, I need to do that. And they'll step into it and walk forward. There's no walking backwards for the light workers, because the galactics out there, the federations, the angelic teams, the archangels, the ascended masters, they're all out there watching us and helping us. And they will give us a little nudge, a little push. Yes, you're doing the right thing. Yes, go in this direction, not that direction. So they trigger our gut, our intuitive knowing. And that's the help that we're getting. Some of us are waiting for the arrival of the galactics. That's going to take some time. And so there's no rush. it's just like you have expressed. Let's sit back, watch, and trust that this is a process. If I may share, this happens on occasion. So I had an old group of healers come a week ago, and I had had a dream about being in the war in Russia and woke up knowing, okay, we need to do some work on the Ukraine. So I asked the group for permission. Permission was granted. I invited in my entourage that supports my existence, and I receive information and direction. So we levitated the whole country of Ukraine, and you know how big the Ukraine is. It's ginormous. So we levitated the country of Ukraine, and it looked like it was a frozen country, like a frozen lake. And underneath was a big gorge. And so the gorge was filled with muck and mire, and the muck and mire was vacuumed out and sent home. When I say sent home, it goes through what I see as a portal. The portal is a consciousness. So it goes through that portal, and then the portal is sealed. Underneath that looked like a maze. Now, the healers are all sitting in meditative state, listening to this instruction, and each one of us has a vision of it. We all see it, but we see it in a different way. So after that muck and mire was removed, there was a maze, and this maze was structurally built. So what we were doing was cleaning out the underground tunnels of the Ukraine area. So it was flushed out, and then each part of the maze was lifted and sent through a specific portal again, sealed again. So all of that was removed. Everything is always layered as you clean that old space. Underneath that was this, it felt like a cone. And at the bottom of the cone was a black ball, a seed. And we heard very clearly, I almost yelled, "Don't touch it." So we were instructed not to touch that black seed. And the divine came in and lifted that seed out. It's like coming in, and everybody will see it in their own way. Just because I see it being airlifted doesn't mean that someone else is going to see it airlifted. That's my vision. So that seed was removed and sent through a very specific portal. On the other side of these portals, everything is healed. Everything is received. Everything is healed at its appropriate level of existence. So once the seed was removed, that area was cleansed, and then a pocket, it looked like a chalice of gold, a pocket of gold, that was dropped into the hole, and then we brought in a crystal. And that crystal was just magnificent. So the crystal was dropped into the chalice, and the whole area was filled with light. It's like white gold light. Then from that crystal, we're shooting arrows like electrical bolts that went up through the cone and darted into the frozen Ukraine. And the Ukraine started to melt. It would make you cry if you could see it. The whole area started to melt, and the divine brought in what looked like a tray to collect the sadness of the tears, the melting country. And so all of that was removed, and then the Ukraine slowly was dropped back into place, and all I could see was spring, trees, flowers, lakes, humans, adults, lots of children. So everything has been dropped into place. And this is what I'm going to say, and please excuse the word, the advanced light workers are doing this all around the world, healing land spaces of old stories so that it will support this movement forward. So that's what we did. We gave blessings into the land space, blessings to the divine, blessings to one another. But the dark forces that exist weren't happy with me. So I had to be very, very careful. And I'm saying to the light workers who are starting this journey, do not do this work. This is for an advanced light worker who is specifically guided, and it is not something for the lighthearted. So just be part of this, be part of this clearing. What we're doing is we're clearing, you're calling in Saint Germain, Lady Portia, and they're bringing in that blue violet flame, and they're burning all the old away, and they're dropping in new light, and you'll see the rainbows, as everything is washed clean. So this is what's going on, even though we don't see it. It's quite beautiful.
And I would say too, so those new to this community and light workers, starseeds, what have you, that may feel like, well, what can I do? I would say just set an intention every time you leave the house. Say you're at the store, everybody you pass, look up at them, look them in the eye and smile at them. It's amazing what little simple things like that can do. Or just go out with a sense of joy or gratitude wherever you are, and that emanates from your being and seeps into those around you. They may not consciously know it, but you're doing good that way. So there's a lot of less complex things that a lot of people that are new to this can do too.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of my friends are what I call peacekeepers, and they do exactly that. They're holding space. My work is very, very different. And we all have a mission. And so we're all going to wake up to our mission, and we'll do that one great little job. The world will be a happier place because we commit to that one little job. So it can be super simple.
But it's not little in the sense of meaningless little. It's
no
little but big
it's
stuff.
Little, yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like to look at it like a baby, right? Like a baby brings so much joy to the family or just whoever the baby comes in contact with. Any human soul that is expressing love in their life, is holding purity in their heart, is doing work that they're not even aware of. And I posted this on my Instagram. He's called the Cowboy, and he drives all over the country. He's a retired veteran, and he's set up in Texas right now. And all he does is sit there and listen to people. He doesn't counsel. He doesn't do anything. He's not trained in anything. He just goes to wherever these tragedies are and sets up and puts out big hearts and says, I'll listen. And he said he's had up to 20 people there at one time and 100 a day, no less, just people who need to express. And I think it's important for people to realize the power of their voices. So when you're speaking, you're expressing unresolved things, energies that need to be released. So just by him doing that, and he's not aware of light work or any of these terms we're using, he's doing an important job, and every human soul can participate like that.
And
that's beautiful.
Holding space. I mean, offering somebody the ability to actually be heard is such a huge gift, and it goes unnoticed, but it's so very needed.
It is.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, he's just sitting there and listening to whatever it is. And we maybe feel supported and we have people we can call and talk to, but we have to realize everyone doesn't have that.
Right.
Yes, that's true. That's very true.
And sometimes go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm saying sometimes you find out you're that person that's supposed to hold space too. Because I've, throughout my life, been that person where even strangers will just tell me random, personal, deep information. I'm just like, okay. I honor
Me
that.
too. I mean,
I know. Way, and it's like, it's so needed.
It is. And it's
really
easier to
is.
talk to a stranger than it is to the family.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. Like you could have an amazing conversation with someone you don't even know and find out the most intimate details.
Yes.
And then back to the Ukraine, and this is something that I realize is, I'm in service. So just like I said, when I woke up, if I had no expectation and I allow the energies to work through me in whatever way is required, I think I need to add some intention to that. As you were speaking about intentionally doing that work in the Ukraine, not that it has to be on a large scale, because I shared with both of y'all how I had a dream that I went to the Ukraine and I worked in 5 different ways. And that's when I saw that we have these underground grids that you were speaking of. I wasn't even aware of how powerful these grids are that we have working underneath the earth. And so that is a blockage there, and we can heal it and they can heal it just when the energy of love comes back. But it kind of makes me feel like maybe there was something happening there that needed this polarity of chaos to shift the energy. Right?
Yes.
And
to bring that awareness there. Yes.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know, but that's just my feeling. And then one thing that they had me doing, which we don't think about, is praying for the Russian soldiers, right? They don't want to be doing this work at all. And I haven't verified it, but I've heard from people that are Russian, they have no idea what's really happening because their only access to information is controlled information. So they don't know that this really is a war.
I think that there's so many untruths out there.
Absolutely.
Right.
We haven't got to the truth yet. And we're all waiting for truth. But that's a good thing too, because we need to get frustrated sufficiently to say, okay, enough.
Yes.
And you hear that everywhere. People are really tired of the discombobulation of news, the polarity of news, and people are looking for independent truths. So it has started. What I like are, we receive truths through so many modalities. We're being taught through education, but through film and entertainment as well. So there's more and more of that occurring where we can get a little bit of information. Even on Netflix, I'll watch a lot of documentaries that are showing their perception of truth, but nevertheless, it's adding another angle. And I like that because I can accumulate all of those pieces of information and put it together myself. What do I believe in? What is working for me in this moment? Maybe it will change tomorrow, but what's working for me now? So I think the key here is for those who are good with words, speak the truth, teach people as much as possible. If you're an artist, create your art that will heal the people. Music, shift the music so that there is less anger in the music and more love. We need more love music right now. And I think that's all shifting as well. So all of these modalities are shifting. even the political arena and the military arena have sufficient light workers within those areas that it will continue to increase. And slowly the old story will either dissipate or cross over. So we're in that juggling act right now of just waiting. But there is, going back to that division of energies, the light workers consciously, unconsciously need to work on getting rid of judgment. And that's my story. When I'm in the car, that is when my judgment comes out full blown. And I have been told very specifically, let go of your judgment. And so that's what I'm working on right now, driving.
Oh my gosh, why is driving so difficult? I think that's a light worker's biggest challenge.
Yes, because that's where people feel free to exhibit their road rage or their anger.
Yeah.
You know, they're frustrated at home and they'll take it out when they get in the car. So anyway, that's my commitment right now.
Well, I think the important thing about that judgment, and in driving, it's a little different, but you have to take off self-judgment. That's the first place to start, and not seeing things as judgment or naming them is probably the best way to put it, and just accept all as creator, right? Even if it's a terrible driver. Like yesterday, I went to the beach and I had to go so early in the morning to even get a parking place. It was 9:30. I had to park on the median and I did get a ticket, but somebody drove by and they said, "Oh, you left your car door open." And I went and looked, it wasn't. He said, "You moron." I mean, like,
yeah,
who speaks like that? But apparently that's allowed. And I mean, I see that on the airplane when I'm working, but what gets someone in a consciousness that they feel that they can just express like that?
Well, that's an indication of the old story, the third dimension. You know, it's a lower frequency, and words can be cruel or inappropriate. The words are inappropriate. And when you watch that, you know, okay, that was me, but that's not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
But that's a
Right.
judgment. Yeah. And then you need to wash away that judgment, you know, so it's very interesting to watch how you think.
Well, I start looking at it like everyone is allowed to create however they want to create. Like, I'm not in judgment of however they want to create. So if whoever that person is wishes to live in that consciousness and create like that, that's entirely up to them. And it has no impact on me other than just letting that flow through. I think this resistance comes in where you feel like you shouldn't talk to people like that. Like, who do you think they are? But once you like let go and say, you know, it doesn't matter. Whatever that guy's doing is impacting me in a way, but I'm just going to let it flow through.
Yeah, because there is an impact. It creates a collective consciousness. It creates a collective sound. And so the more we can lessen that, the greater and the easier it will be for this fifth dimensional collective of light workers to do their work. But it will take time.
Yeah.
It is taking time.
Yes.
And another way that I like to work with my folks that I serve is just bringing awareness to that judgment that you're having. Just the fact that you're going down the road going, well, that's stupid, and then turning around and going, wait, I just made a judgment. Why was I making that judgment? And examine it. And that does immense work for yourself and raising your vibration too, because so many people are not even in that mode. So starting there is really, really beautiful and does a lot more than you think.
Yeah. That awareness is the first step.
Well, no one, I mean, I'm not going to say no one. There are some people who are self-aware, but in general, most people aren't thinking about these things when they wake up in the morning.
That's my hope and wish, that there are more and more, because for myself, the people that I surround myself with and work with are all aware. Even my children are aware. So that is my dream and my wish, to continue that community, to expand. Mhm.
Well, I noticed that I did a Instagram post or a Facebook post the other day, and it got more likes from people who don't generally, read my things because, I guess they're not there yet. But it gave me hope. I was like, oh my gosh, like these are like regular people who are
Yes.
taking the time to read what the post was, and it was about the God being within. So that gave me a bit of hope that maybe we are in a transition. And you mentioned frustration, and the other day I felt so frustrated. I channeled a little message about it, so I'm going to read it to you. This was on May 23rd, which was the day before the shooting in Texas. So I must have been feeling that collective frustration. But it's good. It's very short. Frustration is a sign that there is a resistance to what is. The energy keeping you from being in flow, the singular expression coming to awareness as an aspect of consciousness. What is it that you are frustrated about? What is the friction to being in flow? So it is a signal for us to see what that trigger is inside that's keeping us from accepting things exactly the way they are.
Yeah. And the divine right now is triggering all of us, exacerbating certain experiences in our lives, so that we do become fully aware of our ego, because we're working on that. That's the tunnel, that we're in, this tunnel that you talk about, that gestation period. And the work right now is to look at ego. And how can we look at ego unless we're triggered? And so all of these experiences are brought to us so that we can look at it and then hopefully ponder upon it.
I'm just seeing if there's something I should share on that. About the tunnel, they gave me such a beautiful prayer, and I'm going to read that because I really feel like, they've given me so many, but this was just so beautiful. My Father, the light in my soul longs for your divine presence. Bring your peace onto me so that I may emanate with the light of your love. Allow the cascade of infinite wisdom to open the gateway to your kingdom as we walk in humble submission to the glory of your name. Amen.
That's beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, profound.
Well, they say that the angelic beings, which, we're all angelic humans, but right now we're shining the celestial rays into the hearts of humanity, that really we're serving as these emissaries of light. So that's encouragement to keep us going, right? There's nothing else we can do except do what we're
the emissaries of light.
Right, exactly. Yes. It's when we get ahead of ourselves and say, how is this going to happen? What's it going to look like, that I think we get out of sync.
We just need to be.
Yes, exactly. You just need to be. And those angelic flashes or flares are what we referred to as the solar flares. They're coming from the angelic realms, the galactic federations, and they're coming to us so that we can resonate with the God self that exists within, and emanate that light, be that light.
And they said something about that. They said, as you mix, as you mingle, as you exist in this world, you will become one with the God, the Godhead, the primary functional activator comes the light, shining brightness beyond any known amplitude. So we're just in that process. And I think people like to create distractions, whoever these people are that act like they have the definitive knowledge. None of us have the definitive knowledge.
Right.
No, it's it's infinite and it's always expanding. Exactly. Our little pea brains could never have comprehended what's going on now 50 years ago. So everything is expanding and will continue to do so. Mhm. What you just expressed to us also is encouraging us not to isolate, to gather and mingle and share. And that is really important because the strength of that mingling creates a stronger light force.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And then I think we have a few more minutes, and I think I'd like to talk. And I was driving to yoga and I thought, people don't really understand what ascension means. Like, you know, we think this is the rapture, right? Like we're ascending, we're going to get in that light and we are going back to God. But that's not really what we're talking about here. And I think people get confused. So ascension in consciousness allows more light in. The light holds the information.
Yes.
In order to access this light, you've got to clear out distortions that prevent you from seeing things with a broader perspective. So if you're a human soul and you're not there, you can't understand. It's not your time yet. You've got more interior work to do to be able to expand your vision. It's nothing right or wrong. There's nowhere to go. It's getting in tune with your own heart so you can have a clarity of vision to expand this heart light beyond your own self. But it starts with you. And I think this is something that people don't understand, that they want to point their finger at everything else and everyone else instead of realizing your own heart light is the place to start.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
When I talk about light, it means wisdom. Light is wisdom. When I talk about consciousness, consciousness is awareness. It's just simple awareness. And when we talk about ascension, it's not that we're ascending to go home to God. We are God, so we're already home. The ascension process is the evolution of the soul while we're on the planet. So some are in this process of ascension, which means they may or may not have to return to the planet. So when people are, well, I'm going to ascend, or I'm wanting to ascend, I'm in the ascension, we're all in the ascension process. But whether the soul will be able to achieve its mission work while living on the planet will be determined by the individual.
Like my guides call that completion, like our souls are in completion. So you might have more difficult things when you're in the final human lifetime that your soul's coming into completion on. And so these souls that aren't ascending as rapidly as you just said, they might be a baby soul. They might have a lot more that to sign up for, to get more light, to have more wisdom. So I think we just have to accept where everyone is.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Everyone has their own pace, their own journey, their own right to say yay or nay, and to recognize there's no right or wrong.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, this is a beautiful conversation, ladies. Thank you so much for being here today, and appreciate everybody else that's joined us. Please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more of these great conversations.
The time was like a nanosecond. It just
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye-bye.